morning, viewers. Welcome to the second episode of Masterclass in Recruitment hosted by Fimca. Fimca, which was earlier known as Employment Promotion Council of Indian Personnel, started off in the year 1997 and then reinvented itself as Fimca, which is Federation of Indian Immigrants Management Councils and Association. Our basic reason is that we represent the interests of the recruitment consultants and the immigrants with the government of India and play a mediatory role wherever required between recruitment agencies and aggrieved candidates. Uh, the list of our members consists of the who's who of the recruitment industry, some of them who have over 4 decades in this business. And today, the second episode, we have Mr. Ashit Mehta, the owner, promoter, and chairman of JM Mehta and Company. Mr. Mehta, welcome on board.
Thank you, Gershom.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Mehta, it's been, I think, more than 4 decades since JM Mehta came into existence. Can you tell us something about the history behind JM Mehta?
Well, it's a long history, actually. But anyway, thank you. It's a pleasure to be online with you and with everyone else who's online today. Uh, it's like my father, who was a civil engineer by profession. He went to Oman in 1974, and he worked there and he started a civil construction company. And then when he came back, he realized that there was a lot of potential in the at that time the Oman market, because he worked in Oman and he knew a lot of people and companies there. So he came back and he started this company, JM Mehta and Company. And that's how the recruitment began. The recruitment scene with our company. I kind of joined him in 1980 after passing out, and then I was stationed in Oman for a few years because that's where our focus was initially. And we recruited a lot of people to Oman in those times, and that's how the whole story began. And now, well, we are what now? Almost 45, 46 years old. Quite old, actually, for a company. But yes, that's how the story began.
That's a really long time, and there must have been a lot of changes that you would have seen in the process. So, what do you think are the pros and cons, or the what do you call the improvements that have happened in the recruitment field since then?
Well, in the recruitment field, specifically, a lot of changes have happened right from the beginning. Initially, there was no regulation at all when the industry started, and anyone could become an agent and recruit people off the streets, because that's how it was. I mean, you didn't need to advertise also. The people just knew. I mean, you had, initially, because of the construction boom in the Middle East, it was all construction people. We had masons, carpenters, steel fixers, plumbers, electricians, and you could just actually literally pick them off the street, and as long as they had a passport. And initially, I believe there was ship movement between, at least between Bombay and Muscat. So a lot of people would travel by ship to join these companies. Visas were available quickly. So a lot of people traveled that time without regulations. Then slowly, the government realized that the people need some protection because a lot of agents were seizing these people and trying to give them, show them, jobs with higher salaries and things like that. So the government then enacted well, actually, there was an Immigration Act, but that was of 1952 or something, or 1852, sorry, which the British had enacted. So they dusted up that act and they brought it in back. And then new laws was enacted in 1883 and 1983. And that, since then, of course, we have the Immigration Act of 1983, which is which is we are still following. There have been a lot of changes in that act. It has become a little more liberal than before. It's become easier in terms of recruitment or getting immigration clearances. Earlier, anybody who wanted to go abroad needed immigration clearance. Then, of course, they changed, and people who were graduates didn't need immigration clearance. People who were going to other countries didn't require immigration clearance. Besides the 16 or 18 Middle Eastern countries. So now it's the Immigration Act is limited to protecting immigrants to about 18 countries, and that also people who have not cleared the 10 standards. Anybody who's, I think, 10th or 12th can get immigration check not required and need not go through the act or need
Right.
not go through this protection. So that's a big change. People can travel easily again. And also, regulation means that the agents are licensed, and as long as an intended immigrant goes through a licensed agency, then I think all kinds of protections are provided. So those are the changes as far as the recruitment industry is concerned.
I think India provides the most number of manpower in the Middle East. So, compared to India, what do you think is the contribution of the neighboring countries, which are the main source of labor in the Middle East?
So besides India, we have Pakistan, we have Nepal, we have Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, which are the neighboring countries which also provide manpower to the Middle East as such. But the numbers are much way smaller, and also the skills which skill set which the Middle East companies require uh, for their projects, they don't find them in big numbers in these countries. So India has traditionally been a source of manpower supply and skilled manpower supply to all these countries for a long time. And also because of our population, we do find, I mean, we can find people who can work locally also, and people who travel to the Middle East for these jobs.
Okay. Today we have, I mean, a number of fresh graduates or even fresh technical people, that is, the ITIs and diploma holders who aspire to get their first job abroad without having worked in India. So, what would be your suggestion to them?
For the Middle East, it is very, or almost extremely difficult for a fresh, any fresh, I mean, graduate or 12th standard or ITI or any fresh candidate to get a job. I mean, unless of course you have your uncle or your your some relative abroad and they have vouched for you, and the company does a direct recruitment and then trains you up over there. But through an agency, it is almost impossible for a fresh candidate to go. Uh, the government, the I think the Ministry of Skilling is now looking at providing skill sets in India. That means international skilling standards uh, would be provided in India. So maybe the ITI, the ITI industry would would join hands with some international companies and give uh, examinations to international standards, which with which you can go to any country in the world. Now, if that happens, then yes, then any fresh or anybody who has the certification, be it a welder or fabricator or carpenter or plumber, can travel anywhere. I mean, companies will be willing to employ those people as long as those certification standards are met. So we're hoping that some kind of international standards come in to India, and people get trained on those standards. Once that happens, yes, it will be easy. But currently, for fresh graduates or fresh ITI guys, it's very difficult to get jobs through recruitment agencies.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So from what I understand is that the government of India is proactively looking at setting up benchmarks to international standards And the idea is that a fresh technical ITI or a diploma, who then further gets trained in the best practices overseas, can probably aspire to get a job as a fresher in the Middle East.
Yes, sure. I mean, once you're trained, I mean, once you are certified to any international standard, you can get a job anywhere in the world. In fact, why Middle East? Anywhere. I mean, any place would be willing to employ you as long as you meet the standards. It's like doctors. Like if you're a doctor certified by the local board here, now I believe that the UK government is allowing that certification to be accepted in UK. Uh, a doctor can easily go to UK and work there without recertifying, without going through the whole process all over again. But like if you go to the US or other countries, you may have to recertify yourself. So it becomes that much more difficult. So if standardization is there, then it will be very easy for anyone to get a job anywhere in the world.
Okay, that's a really good move. Now, about people with experience in India and who look to go abroad. And coming back to, I mean, another point is that today there's not much of a difference between salaries here and the Middle East. So, uh, why should they? I mean, is it worth their while to go abroad? And what are your views on that?
So basically, white collar recruitment is more or less kind of reduced a lot, except in the oil and gas or construction industries, engineers, and but other professionals are not looking at. I mean, people are not looking at jobs abroad at all. Because India is now such a vibrant country, and there's a lot of growth in India itself. The job prospects are good. I mean, promotion, everything, salaries are good. You are with your family here, so there's not much incentive left now for a prospective migrant or a prospective worker to go to, let's say, the Middle East or a prospective professional. But there are a lot of people who have worked in the Middle East and they like working there. I mean, the living conditions are good, the food is good, and they can save money. So that's the most important thing. So even though the salaries may be the same, but in terms of tax and other expenses which are looked after by the company, there is minimal expenses there. So a man or a person does tend to save a substantial amount of money, which he can then utilize here for his family. But for blue collar workers, it's all right. White collar workers, I don't think Middle East is now a very prospective destination as such. Yeah.
So, where do the white collar workers move?
White collar professionals, there are a lot of, I mean, of course, India itself is a major employer. And now, I mean, with our real estate industry, construction industry, with so many major projects happening. So we ourselves need a lot of people and trained people, personnel in all fields. I mean, manufacturing is increasing. Uh, Big projects, infrastructure projects are coming up. So we need trained people ourselves. So I think, uh, uh, how would I put it? Uh, I mean, we would need to find those people in India for India. So, yeah, that's it.
But then we still have newer markets opening up for India. So,
Yeah, I
it
mean,
would
we
be.
have the European market, I believe, is opening up for technicians and I think even drivers and things like that. Uh, and I believe a lot of people are in this field looking at that recruitment. Uh, they say Japan will open up. Germany is kind of taking nurses. Hungary is taking drivers. So a lot of people are working in that in those environments. Unfortunately, we are not working in that. But I believe a lot of movement is there right now. So I mean, but white collar, I don't know. White collar IT, of course, can go anywhere. I mean, they can work at home also here, or they can travel, work in any of these countries. IT, the language is mostly English, so there's not much issues for them to go into any of these countries and then learn the language, local language there. But work-wise, they won't find any issues. So IT is one industry where you can migrate anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, any more thoughts on the industry that and the advice that you can give?
Yes, I mean the industry is evolving. The Middle East is of course always be the biggest employer for Indians and biggest destination still. I mean a lot of people still travel. There's a lot of recruitment happening in oil and gas sector especially, and so if India will always traditionally be the supplier, but India should now look at supplying to the world because worldwide the there are a lot of countries uh, facing how would you say population issues. So their population is aging. Uh, they have a low fertility rate, so they don't have enough young people who would do jobs which are required to be done in the service sector and construction, etc. So they would need to all these countries, Japan, Korea, let's say Germany, and other countries, Italy, would require workers now, whether they are from India or from neighboring countries or ethnically similar countries. That remains to be seen. But India can penetrate, or Indians can penetrate those markets. We need some government to government policies, bilaterals, and also some kind of clear picture from. And I mean, if the government and the industry works together, I think we can. I mean, this industry can evolve. I mean, from Middle East to these new destinations.
Right. So there's a lot of potential for Indians, still a lot more potential for Indians to go abroad and prosper.
Yes, of
Uh,
course.
yeah. So I think that's on that note we can call it. I mean, take a break and wait for questions from our viewers.
Sure. Go ahead. So you need to understand that J. Mehta and Company has been in this field, and we've been in recruiting mostly construction people and oil and gas related FMM, hospitality, service sectors. So we would be able to kind of give some advice or some instructions or some inputs to people who would like to discuss these issues and to the Middle East. If there are candidates who would like, I mean, who are in IT or other kind of jobs or who want to migrate to Australia or New Zealand or other countries, uh, they will need to wait till we get some of our other members to come online.
I seen a question from Niaz Qureshi about how Fimca can help in getting a job. Niaz, what I can say is that Fimca today, with its members, is aggregating the jobs on our website.
Very good, very good.
You can visit our website and see the jobs from all our member agencies. So that'll be a one stop shop for you. Now you.
Okay. Australia is something which I mean we're not much aware of. It's more of, I mean, people who go to Australia and New Zealand, they look for the openings directly, and they have. I think both New Zealand and Australia have point systems whereby they look at your age, your qualification, your number of years of experience, jobs within the country which are available, and if you kind of tally up the points and if you meet those criterias, then you can apply for a visa, immigration visa. Of course it takes time, I think 6 to 8 months or maybe 1 year, but there are a lot of immigration consultants who in India who advise you for these kind of migration, where you want to migrate completely to and set up a new life in Australia or New Zealand. So I think it would be nice. It would be wise to consult one of these immigration consultants in India based on where you are.
Siddharth Sharma is asking, as a marketing professional with 5 years of experience in India, how difficult it is for me to get a job in a European country.
As I said, I have not much idea of European countries. There are a lot of. I think there are a few companies who are working in that space. Uh, and marketing, I'm not too sure because I'm sure they have enough of those people within those countries, the East European countries. So uh, mainly, I think it's the technical or service guy, service people, hospitality, or even medical professions who are required right now. So those are in demand. Nurses are in demand. So hospitality people are in demand. So I think it may be a little difficult for a marketing professional to get a job in a European country. And again, language is a major issue there. So UK, of course, not many people can easily migrate to, but any European country, language is one of the biggest, what you call, stoppages in terms of,
Something like
yeah, some block, yeah.
yeah. So I think Siddharth, one way that you can ease your route is by learning a local language over there, from there. Anand Rao Rani says, I'm a degree holder in civil and I'm a fresher. How can I get the job in Middle East? I think this has been addressed earlier. Maybe you could repeat yourself again, Mr. Mathur.
As we said earlier, it's extremely difficult for any graduate, postgraduate, or even ITI person who's doesn't have any overseas experience to get a job in the Middle East through the recruiting agents. But if you do have somebody who or one of your colleagues who or your batchmates or somebody who's already in the Middle East and they can vouch for you, then the company where he or she is working may interview you, and if they find you suitable, can offer you a job. But but through recruiting agents or through Fimca, it will be very difficult. I mean, I'm not trying to demotivate here, but that is the reality. So that's what it is.
Yeah, Bhagyashree Narkar says, I'm a graduate with 7 years in oil and gas construction industry, handling end-to-end process, looking for jobs abroad. Please provide guidelines.
So yeah,
So
so there are a lot of opportunities in oil and gas space. Ideally, I mean, you can look at the websites of all these oil and gas companies, especially the government-owned companies in the UAE, in Qatar. So you have Qatar Gas and Qatar Fertilizers or whatever. I mean, there are so many. Uh, ADNOC is there, the Noman Oil is there. So if you go and look at those websites and look at uh, uh, the jobs available, then maybe you may find a suitable jobs. Other than that, of course, the all the agents who work in this field, if you can look up their websites and see if any such suitable jobs are available. And other sources, of course, your Naukri, where you can put up your CV, which you must have already done, and also advertisements, AAT and AAT newspaper, where but of course, high white collar jobs are not advertised as much in AAT as on social media. So you'll need to look at all this and then uh, see what best whether anything suits your experience and qualification and experience.
yeah, so that at the beginning, I had mentioned as an introduction that Fimca uh, basically is a mediator, or rather speaks to the legislative part of the government on issues that affect the recruitment industry. So apart from the recruitment agencies who have issues, we also mediate in case of candidates having issues with a recruitment agency or with a client, with a recruiter in the Middle East. That is the client, end client. We see how best to come to a middle ground and uh, satisfy everyone.
So yeah, basically we are an interface between the recruitment agents and the government. So that's what the
Right.
association does, like any other association
Right.
in the country.
Yeah, Monali is asking any jobs for hotel industry in European countries.
Yes, I believe there are lots of openings in the service industry, but again, you'll have to go through the same through ads in AAP or in Assignment Abroad Times or in put up in Naukri or on social portals. So, but I believe there are quite a few uh, openings in the hotel and hospitality industry in East Europe.
Yes, I think the Eurasian countries as well as the Nordic countries do hire in the hospitality sector.
That's right.
Okay, I think we've had a good chat, Mr. Mehta. Thanks a lot for your time. And
Thank you, everyone.
viewers, we are looking at the next episode of the Recruitment Masterclass coming Friday. We will let you know about the next guest on this show, uh, probably in the next couple of days. Uh, we would ask you to follow us, our social media links on YouTube as well as Facebook. And shortly, we should be on LinkedIn too. Uh, See you again next week. And thank you once
Thank
again, Mr. Tata.
Thank you, Gershom. Thank you, and thank you, everyone.